Hey, happy Video Friday. Let's just get the obvious out of the way. I am doing this video on a Thursday night, and night is what I want you to focus on. So I'm having to use a light ring, and I hate using a light ring. The lighting is really not fantastic at night with a light ring, and maybe I don't have the right setting. I don't know. It has the weird things going on in my eyes. Things that I'm going to show you in this video won't show up as fantastically, but that's okay. What do I have for you today? Well, this week marked the 10-year anniversary of my first book, my first story, The Holding You Duet, Holding You and Releasing Me. That's 10 years old this week, and I'm going to discuss why I decided to start writing, which I've shared this before, and why I specifically wrote the first story that I wrote, the Holding You series, and how I feel about it 10 years later. So let's get to it. Okay, here we go with the bad lighting as I show you the new covers to my Holding You. We did some 10-year covers. We'll have trouble zooming on here. God, I don't know. There's Holding You. They're beautiful blue. Blue is my favorite color. Anytime somebody does a blue cover for me, I'm crazy about it. That's Holding You. Jen Beach, my assistant, designed these, and that is Releasing Me. If you've read the story, you know that these covers are actually very fitting. We laughed when designing them. I don't really have a brand when it comes to covers other than I'm just all over the place. Whatever I think fits the story. I have said many times that I should get better with branding myself, but I'm not there yet. At this point, I don't know. I think my brand is that I have no brand. Anyway, if you want signed copies of this book, you can get these books, you can get it off of julieann.com. I'm going to real quickly, before we jump into the background on my writing journey, I'm going to show you also my new cover for If This Is Love. I went from, instead of people to discreet, I went from discreet to people, which is kind of backwards, but I had a marketing reason why I did this. Emily Wittig did this cover, beautiful, beautiful. So you can get this signed on my website as well. So let's jump into my writing journey. Why did I start writing? Why did I publish a book 10 years ago? I had been a dental hygienist for 10 years. Then I opened up an eco-living store, a retail store with my mom, which was a super fun, unforgettable journey for me. And after that, I decided when I had my third child to stay at home and help run the family business, be the stay-at-home mom. I even homeschooled my children for a while. I've kind of done a little bit of everything. And I got back into reading at the time, and that's when I had a friend recommend 50 Shades of Grey, and I thought, well, this is a different kind of romance other than like the Nicholas Sparks books that I had been reading, and I still love Nicholas Sparks. I don't care what y'all say about it. I still love Nicholas Sparks books. Anyway, my mom over the years had always thought that I should have done something in writing. My best friend was like, you should write a book, and I don't even remember what it was that made me sit down one day to start writing the book, other than the books I was then, after 50 Shades, of course, like everybody else, just inhaling these books, like reading a book a day type thing. And I wanted to write a story that at the time had a character that I felt like I could relate to her a little bit more, which I know how many times I've told you that I don't care if I write relatable characters, but I did. 10 years ago, I wanted to relate to a character, and that's why I decided to write this book. We had switched over in our family to a plant-based diet, a vegan diet, after other family members had had health issues, and we'd done a lot of research and also influence of a midwife. She would not want to take credit. She did not tell me to go vegan, but just a healthier diet anyway. And somebody in Des Moines had opened up, I'm in the Des Moines area, somebody had opened up an all plant-based food or vegan restaurant, and the food was phenomenal. People who weren't vegan or plant-based ate there, loved it. Just the food was all fresh and so healthy and phenomenal. And I thought, it'd be cool to write a story about a vegan chef. And that, coupled with the fact that I had a son and a nephew that was doing the rock wall climbing, and they would travel for competitions. We had gone to Milwaukee, and it was my first time in Milwaukee, and I kind of fell in love with Milwaukee and the waterfront and everything. And so then that kind of started things spinning in my head, like, oh, I can see like a character like having this vegan cafe that's kind of right where you can look out onto the water. And that was kind of it. That was the seed right there. That's what started it. I didn't have an outline. I didn't know where the story was going to go. I did know it was going to be a millionaire or billionaire romance at the time because that's what was popular. I was writing sexy billionaire because that's what was selling, and I'm going to at least jump on that bandwagon and sell that as well. This is kind of a spoiler, but 10 years later, who cares? It's actually, they're both rich, but she's richer. And I loved that. I loved that she is the wealthy one. It's a secret as to why she has so much wealth. And, but she doesn't live that life. Like, she has this cafe that she owns, and she drives a Prius. She's a tree hugger. She's into yoga. She likes hula hooping, like all these things I was into at the time. Like, I went and took hula hooping classes. This was before I wrote the book, but I was into all of this. I was this crunchy tree hugger, granola, blah, blah, blah person. I didn't say that in the right order. So that's what kind of went into this book. And at the time, I wasn't thinking I'm going to write an enemies to lovers, because we weren't really talking about tropes at the time, but that's what it started out as. And there's so much sex in this book, and that's okay. I call them my sex books. It's what kind of inspired me after 50 Shades of Grey of writing like this explicit romance. If you take all the sex out of the book, there is still a very solid story, and it is a very heartbreaking story, and it's incredibly angsty. This was like the throw your Kindle across the room type of story, and the angst is so strong in this book. So if you're an angst lover, this is for you. When we put the new covers on, I was going to go back and tweak some of the book. I knew that I would want to change some of the sex scenes, simply because at the time I, as well as most other authors, were just randomly deciding how many different names for genitalia we could come up with in a sex scene, instead of just kind of like going basic, which I think now the trend is just a little more basic. But at the time, there was just a rainbow of different terminology that we used. And I knew that though would just head into me rewriting the whole book. And then I'd want to go to my next story, Undeniably You. And can I rewrite this book? And where does it end? Like, I'm 33 books into this. I just can't continue to go back and rewrite my books. So I have a disclaimer in the front of the book now, these newer books, and we're just going with that. So that's how that story got started. I was staying up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning writing. That's when I was able to stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Now I can't stay up that long. Like, I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning now, but that's menopause. But at the time, I had this writing stamina that was just incredible. And when I finished these books, I was heartbroken, just and in tears, because it's kind of that story, even though yes, there's a happily ever after, but I felt like I had dumped my entire soul into these books, and it was heartbreaking to me because I thought this was it. Like, that was my story. They say that everybody should write a book or a story. That was mine that I wrote, and I was bummed because I thought, that's it. I'm never going to write anything better than that. And I did. I wrote another book, and then another book, and another book, and this has gone on for 10 years, and that's pretty exciting because writing has been very therapeutic for me. It's helped me work through things in life. The Holding You series, their duet, is very much how I started off with, can I create characters and situations where you think something is almost unforgivable? Like, can I have these flawed characters, or can I have a life circumstance, like For Lucy would be the book that has this life circumstance where you think, where's the line between where it breaks lovers apart because something is just so unforgivable. And that's a little bit what happens in the Holding You series, which is why there's also so much angst and heartbreak in that series. So yeah, that's how we got started there. You know how I feel about it. I told you I'm thinking a little cringy on some of the sex scenes, but I'm still very proud of the story, and I still have readers who have read all of my books, but this is still their favorite story, and that blows my mind, but it's also a very wonderful compliment. So you should check out the Holding You series. I do not believe these are on Kindle Unlimited. I should have checked this out. I don't think they're on Kindle Unlimited, but you can get them off of Amazon, and I do not have these in audio. I just, at the time, was not putting anything in audio, and then by the time I started doing audiobooks, I was like, do I go back and put my first books on there? But I have sold the rights for the audio. I didn't think anybody would buy them, but I tricked somebody in. No, somebody bought them. So these will be coming to audio for you as well. I just don't have a date on that. That is my update for my 10-year publishing anniversary. Thank you to everyone who has been with me from the beginning. And of course, thank you just to everybody who's jumped on the train with me along the way. This has been such a pleasure. I hope I have 10, 20, 30 more years in me of writing books, because I truly, truly do love it. As far as what I'm working on now, I am still working through edits for my Montlake book, From Air, that will come out in the fall. We just finished developmental edits. Yay! Made it through that. And I am at the tail end of my book that I'll indie publish for you in May. It's called I Thought of You. It was supposed to be this book that kind of wrote itself. It's not writing itself. It's so heartbreaking. I didn't think it was going to be this heartbreaking, but it is. And I don't know how to end this book. I'm like 5,000 words from the end of this book, and I don't know how it's going to end yet. And I'm so conflicted. So we'll all be surprised to see what happens with that. All right, we're 10, 11 minutes into this video. That is it, you guys. Thank you for everything. This is such a pleasure to write for you. Have a wonderful weekend wherever you are, and be kind to one another. We'll see you. Bye.